Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the LoreLink Twitch stream. Really appreciate everybody being here with me this evening. The LoreLink team just got back from Origins in Columbus, Ohio. We were there this past week. We were at booth 200. If you stopped by, thank you so much for doing so. It was great to talk with everybody. We had just a fantastic turnout and a lot of wonderful conversations and got to meet a lot of various people who are game masters and play RPGs, and it was a wonderful time. Um, Another little bit of news that happened right before Origins is that LoreLink is now out of early access, so definitely go check it out. Really appreciate you being here, and we're going to get into something a little bit exciting. So you may remember earlier this year, we introduced the One Ring, which is a Lord of the Rings themed role-playing game. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it, but I was really kind of doing it just to kind of introduce the system a little bit. And in fact, really quickly, I'm going to share with you. So we have up on the website a link to the One Ring system. It has the original video, so go check that out at some point in time. It kind of covers a little bit of an overview of the system and details about the One Ring second edition that we're getting into now. So do check that out. But now we've decided that as a team, we're going to go ahead and make the One Ring our very next actual play. So the actual play has been scheduled for July 18th, which means that I have just a little bit of time to get ready to actually run this for the group. So that means I need to do some planning. So we're going to pick up where we left off last time. It's been a few months, so I'm going to be a little bit rusty, and I was just at Origins all week last week, so I'm not exactly jet lagged, but I don't know if there's con crash a little bit, but we're going to get into it. We're going to start planning and see where we get off, get everything kicked off. So let me switch back over here to LoreLink. And I have this in draft right now because I really wasn't planning to start running it, but we're going to get things started this way. One of the things that's happened since I streamed this originally is that LoreLink now has a dark mode, which is pretty exciting, so definitely check that out. I'm going to do a few things to the campaign now. So I'm in edit mode right now. We're going to do just a couple little details. So first of all, I'm going to take this out of draft. This is now an active campaign because I'm actively working on getting it ready for everybody. Another thing we're going to do, most cracked Conspiracy Most Cracked is the name of the session, so we're working on planning that. That's cool. Take a quick look at what we had after the last session, and then we're going to get things started off from there. I did, last time I ran this, I opened up the box set and showed you what was inside of that. For today's stream, I'm using the PDFs primarily because it makes it a little bit easier to work with on stream than the physical books. So let's take a peek. We have this session that we're working on. We don't have any timelines currently. We do have a bunch of events. So if you've watched some of my Pendragon planning streams, which we've been doing over the last couple of months, we were getting ready for the, so we did 2 actual play sessions in Pendragon, and I ended up running Pendragon at HoosierCon and at Origins. This is a similar type of system in that we're doing a lot of very event-oriented things instead of like more location-oriented like a dungeon crawl would be, for example. So I've come up with a few additional ideas, so I'm going to do a timeline of these events here in a minute to kind of tie all this together in a way that I think is going to be a little bit easier. That said, let's go ahead and see what all we've got. So we've got the Shire, Michael Delving, Matham House, Overhill, Bagend, and Waymeet in the system already. Cool. We don't have any characters yet, no creatures, no villains, no items. Not a problem. We do have a tag though. We're tagging things into the plot structure. So this is one of the things when I'm giving demos on LoreLink, for example, I walk through one of the ways you can use tags, and this is one of the ways I started doing it, which is to kind of outline the way the plot's going to fit together, use the tags to assemble that so that I have a place to go to find something that maps to the way I'm actually going to run the game. Okay, so let's get started. Actually, before I jump into the next phase of planning, I want to break down the characters really quickly. So I'm going to switch over here to a full screen view and let you see the PDFs. So one of the things that I'm going to send out to all the players in a bit is I'm going to invite them to select their character. Um, just like I generally do when running a packaged adventure, especially like a box set adventure, I'm going to give them these starter characters because the adventure is designed for these characters. So I'm going to give them the opportunity to select which of these characters they would like to work with. And so uh, these character sheets are pretty cool. They give you an introduction of the character, a little image, information about their background, just super useful. You'll note that most of these have recognizable last names. So we've got a Baggins, a Took. Okay, Brace Girdle is maybe a little bit lesser known, but we have a Took, a Brandybuck, a couple of them. Then we have a dwarf, Balin Funden, and good old Bilbo Baggins. Now, these are not going to be playable characters out of the gate. You're going to pick from one of these six hobbits. So the way this system works is that this is your target number. So when you're rolling something against strength, you're rolling against target number 15. You're trying to meet or exceed that number on a d20. It's a basic system. This is your rank in strength. You're a strength 3. And because this is designed to be a one-shot, the way it works is you use 18 as the base, you subtract your stat, and that becomes your target number. So it's 18 minus 3 is 15. That becomes our target number. In a longer running campaign, generally, you're going to start at 20, and then you're going to skill up from there. So you would start, if you had a 3, you would start, that'd be a 17 target number. Then endurance, hope, and parry are calculated from here. We have a specialty in song, travel, and courtesy, but we have a variety of other skills as well. So each of the characters is going to be similarly outfitted and statted. Going to have an opportunity to see what the specialties are, etc. Combat. Some of them will have some different combat abilities, but they're hobbits. I mean, let's be realistic. Combat really not their primary forte, yeah? So that's what the character sheets are going to look like. Those are going to be handed out. We'll have an opportunity to pick from those. I'm not entirely sure how many players we'll have yet, but I'll have the ability to put those into the system and share it. And I'll probably haven't decided yet entirely how to do the character sheets, but I'm probably going to pull the characters straight into Lurling. All right. A couple other little items. This is the stance card. So I have those digitally. We also have a paper version, but this is, I'm not entirely sure the best way to do this digitally on the tabletop. So I'll have to give some thoughts to how to best represent this, because this is like a journey event, and then this is combat stances. So you can be forward, open, rearward, and defensive. So those are the different types of combat stances. So what'll happen, like in an in-person game, this is actually like a coaster-sized square, and so you'll put that in front of your character and you'll orient it to indicate what your character's stance is. So this is much less tactical RPG, like hex map style, and much more narrative style of combat. You're indicating what your intent is, how you're going to position yourself, but you don't necessarily need figures on a map to make your combat decisions, for example, in the system. All right. With that, so there's a couple of really cool things. We've got the rule book here. If any of you in the chat have specific questions, that'd be fantastic. If not, I will just try to cover things as they come up. And here is the adventure. So We're going to start off at the top of the adventure, and we're going to start working on level setting where we are, getting caught up to where I had left off last time. So a little bit of a note here. Okay, we have the 9 pre-generated characters. Initially, the players may select one of the 6 hobbits. Lore Master should allow the players the opportunity to review each of these pre-generated characters. Yeah, we already talked about that. I'm supposed to keep the new heroes a secret. Oh well. So they become available. Okay, so here is the beginning. A conspiracy most cracked. So let's position these things side by side, close that off just a little bit. So it all fits. Okay, so we've got conspiracy most cracked here in the hierarchy, and that's going to combine children. I haven't actually tagged anything with this yet. I have tagged things off with part 1. There we go. Now I have the events associated with it and the associated locations. Perfect. But I'm going to do one more thing. We're going to create a timeline for Conspiracy Most Cracked. I'm going to save this. So far, I have not shared anything with the players. This is all kept private. Let's come in here and set this up. So I can add the different events in here. Part 1 off into the blue. So let's see if I can add an event. This should be the first scenario run as a test stage for all the others. It occurs during the spring or summer of 1360 Shire Reckoning. This action begins at Bag End and then moves on to Michael Delving and back. So let's open up a tab for the session, and let's come in here and look at how we've got the session planned. Do we have... kind of feel like I might want to break these down a little bit even further, but so action begins at Bag End. Perfect. So what I'm going to do, and this is a thing that I do. It's not necessarily a thing you need to do. I build out the session and then I mark as completed the place where the players start. Generally, that's because they're already in that location because that's the place where I left them last time. If it's not a location, if it's an event where we're starting, then I'll flag that. But the starting point of the session, I flag as completed because that's the kickoff point. Helps me find it quickly and easily when I'm going through the session. Okay, so part 1 off into the blue. We're going to, oops, didn't mean to do that. I meant to click here. There we go. Off into the blue. Find that timeline. To add the event. Off into the blue. That's going to happen, and then I'm going to add getting across the water. Okay, so I'm putting these things into a chronology because they're going to happen generally in order. Well met and Waymeet. Okay. So the way, and so this part's already been planned out, but because I know it's been a long time and you may or may not have seen that first stream, we're just going to recap this really quickly. The way this is starting is that Mad Baggins is added again, has gathered in Bag End a new cabal of adventurous spirits. Mad Baggins, of course, is referring to Bilbo. He's named you all the conspirators of the Red Book. In an effort to gather notes for his book, he has asked these friends under promise of payment and a bit of adventure to help him confirm some important details about the history of the Shire and its people. So the first and most important step is a map of the Shire that is kept locked away in the Matham House at Michael Delving. So he's sending you there to pilfer the ancient map. A little bit of fun. So you're setting off from Bag End. The first obstacle reveals itself after you leave Overhill. The water has become swifter with the recent rain, and the shallow ford where Bilbo told them to cross looks a bit more treacherous. So then you've got to find a solution, right? So this is walking you through your first challenge, how we're going to get across the water, some opportunities, some options there. Then you eventually find your way to Waymeet, one way or the other. Hopefully you make it across. Waymeet itself is quite active on the evening when the player heroes arrive. And then how do you want to go about, finding information, finding lodging, etc. All the beds at the inn are taken, booked by a group of pipe weed merchants headed for Longbottom. You can sleep in the stables, and he's going to ask for help to do that, etc. So you get a couple more adventures there. And then we head off to part 2. So we add the event, part 2, Mathams of Michael Delving. Okay. And so this adventure is written in such a way that it's already pretty well broken down. I could probably drill into this even further, but I just don't think it's necessary. I think the way it's broken down is already pretty good. So for now, I'm going to stick with that. And in fact, I had already made that decision last time I did this. So the next one is Burglars of Michael Delving. Oops, wrong. So we're going to edit that. We're going to fix it. Okay. And then the Matham House. So you make it into Michael Delving. You're going to get to the Matham House. You'll notice that this keeps filtering down as I add events. So after that, there we have Slipping Out of Town and the epilogue. Okay. Now, we're going to check one little thing. Okay, campaign. Perfect. There's our timeline. So now, this is our campaign timeline, and we can see the sequence of events as they are going to occur, right? That gives me a really high-level view here, but it also means that when I come in here and view the timeline, right, I can navigate into the different events in sequence from this view. That's one way that I can get around. The other way that I can get around is through these tags. I've got this broken down to part 1 and part 2. So within part 1, I've got the associated locations and events so that I can monitor these, okay? So I've got lots of different ways to view this information now, and it was really easy to put that together. So we're going to do one little thing because, again, it's been a minute. I'm going to come back into these events, and I'm going to make sure from the top that the events have all the information that I want in them. So we're going to go to part 1. Actually, let's do it this way because it's super easy this way. I'm going to come in here and say open new event. Close these pages for now. There we go. Off into the blue. Part 1 off into the blue. It's tagged that way. It's associated with the back end because that's where they start. I can toggle the preview, see how it looks, but we're good enough. First part of this adventure is a little more than Hobbit Walking Party. Perfect. So there's all that. There's the reload text. Oh, I need to add a bunch more read aloud text. I must have hand typed this before. All right. And that's what I was worried about, by the way, that I had maybe not gotten everything in. So we'll do this really quickly. Yeah, so PDFs have this really weird way of doing hard new line returns. So we're going to do one thing really quick and make sure that I'm happy with this. Look at the preview. Extra space there, so we're going to put a new space. Yeah, can't ever copy it. It's such a pain. Oh, actually, this is going to go here. Before, and then you. This is. And then he grabs. Go there. Clean this up. So, any Lord of the Rings fans out there? Anybody run this system before? Because it's certainly a lot of fun. Well, I've not really run it, but I have played in it at a few locations. Lord of the Rings fan, X, hi, how's it going? So X, which do you prefer, the book or the movies? You like Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit? Boom, there we go. Now we have all the text in here. Cool, so we'll save that. That's looking really good. Do I have any? I'm going to have to copy this map out of here at some point in time and paste it in. Go back out to the campaign really quickly. Let's see. Do this. I'll update the actual campaign itself. This detail, I don't want to miss any of these notes. Cool. Save that. That's the introduction. I don't think I need any content warnings for this adventure. I guess maybe theft and burglary is going to be a part of the thing there. Lord of the Rings for Tony, sweet. The little 2 to 3 feet. Ha ha ha. Yes, yes, it is. Ish. I mean, that's one of the group's people there. Lord of the Rings movies, haven't read the book. Oh, The Hobbit is my favorite book in the world. One of these days, I've been I've been talking about this or threatening this for a while, but I really want to write a like a conference talk on leadership based on The Hobbit. So like the leadership from The Hobbit or the leadership of Gandalf or whatever. But I love that book so much. Go. So this is got this header level information. I think this stuff I can live without. Locations detailed in the adventure if I consult the geography section of the Shire. Spiritually most cracked and vulnerary postman is the next left. Okay. Using the pre-generated characters. So we're going to flesh this out a little bit more. So we're going to go into now, I'm going to close this, save that. Let's go to the next. And getting across the water, because what I'm realizing is that when I ran this last time, when I did the prep last time, I don't think I had the PDFs at the time, so I picked up the PDF since then, specifically to make it easier to stream and copy from and to do all this. So I'm gonna keep doing this. Find a solution, boom. So we're gonna keep going, because I need to have all this stuff in before running it. For a few reasons. I mean, one of the reasons that I use Lurelink for stuff and then I find it easier to run with is that if I try to run from the PDF, I'm potentially going to be bouncing around looking for things, trying to figure out what's important. So when I put things into Lurelink, first of all, like right now, like I said at the top, if you want more information about the locations, you got to go to a whole different PDF and find the location to find the information. What I'm going to be able to do here in Lurelink is tie the location specifically to the events that happen in that location, add the details to that location entry, and now I'm just going to be one click away from that location information anywhere I am in the system. And that, to me, as a GM, makes my life so much easier. So yes, it takes time and effort to get all this stuff in here when I could just run it from the PDF, right? But now I'm going to be able to comment on things. I'm going to be able to change things. I'm going to be able to edit things. I'm going to be able to highlight things that I need to not miss, link them together. I'm going to be able to adapt a lot faster at the table. These are the types of things that are important to me, and it's the reason I put time and effort into session planning in the first place. So, got this, getting across the water, paragraph 1, and then paragraph 2. You can do it. You can, in fact, copy the text. I promise. All right. Coolio. Dry or soaked, hobbits eventually find a way. All right. List of custom fields. I don't have any custom fields at the moment that I need. That one's that. That's good. Save that. Do one other little thing really quickly because I think this is fun. We're going to come into bag end, and I'm going to share the existence of bag end. Everybody knows bag end exists. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that players know all of these things exist. They know the Shire exists, right? They know Michael Delving exists. They don't necessarily know about the Matham House though, so we're gonna not share that yet. We're gonna come into Waymeet. Yeah, they know Waymeet exists for sure. I mean, they're hobbits. They know these things. This is part of their local area. They know it. It's out there, right? Yeah, you'd hope they would know it. Absolutely. So, I'm not going to do this on stream because I don't want to share the code with everybody, but I am going to be inviting the players in. I think I'm going to go ahead and create those. I'm going to do that here in a minute once I get through some other things. But now I've got the locations preset. Okay. So let's go to this one. Well met and way meet. Here we are. Such a late hour. And copy all this text. Copy, copy, copy. I definitely have some things on the roadmap for making this process a little bit easier. It's just going to be part of the ongoing improvements. I've got a lot of really cool announcements that are going to be coming out of LoreLink over the next couple of weeks in terms of fun things we're working on. It's worth noting that if you are a LoreLink user and you're happy with it, first of all, I'd love to hear about that, but also let us know the things that could be better or the things you wish you could do, because we make our product roadmap based on that. So love to hear from you. That was one of the great things about being at Origins last week, is that we got to talk to so many people in person, have really great interactions, and really hear about what types of games you're running, what you're looking for to make your life easier, and how we can work together to help you with that. So it's always great to have those conversations and work together to make this whole hobby a lot more approachable, a lot more fun. All right. So locations here is Waymeet. What do you know? Cool. Double checking really quickly. I'm going to do that was there. I'm going to go get all these up again really quickly. Location here is Bag End. Okay, cool. Just double checking that I don't have any location for the across the water. As soon as they leave Overhill, the water's going swifter. Shallow Ford. I could add Shallow Ford as a location. Like, I don't think that's necessary, but let's double check. So we're going to pull up the Shire book. Let's kind of get a feel for, oh, this is cool. So we've got a brief history of the Shire, families, the art of smoking, blowing smoke rings, tale of the years of the Shire. I could actually put this as a timeline, and that could be a fun thing to do at some point. Families and culture. One of the things I could also do, for example, some of the families, is that when I put the characters in, I could tag those characters based on the family tree and add those as tags with additional information. That could be fun. Maybe we'll do that. Let's see. Gandalf the Grey. The geography. Okay, cool. The 3 farthing stones properly relate the list of places of importance within the Shire. It is only appropriate to begin at its very heart and then explore each of these domains in turn. Whether it was erected by the High King at Norbury, by the brothers Marco and Blanco, or some other thoughtful hobbit of surpassing good sense, the 3 farthing stone stands in the middle of the Shire. Tall as 2 hobbits and worn little by age or time, this column serves to mark where the borders of West Farthing, East Farthing, and South Farthing meet. Indeed, it is easily visible to any hobbit or the rare outsider traveling to the East-West Road. Though it serves no formal purpose beyond indicating the true and proper center of the Shire for all to see, the stone is held in great esteem by all residents, save for naughty hobbit children roughly playing King of the Stone as they attempt to best one another by seeing who can scramble up its slick rocky sides the fastest, before inevitably tumbling down or being knocked off of it by their playmates. Water. The river running across the Shire from its source in the hills of Evandin, where it flows into the Brandywine, is called the Water. A little more than a slow rushing stream where it spreads into the Rushock Bog and eventually resumes its eastward course. Okay, so I might actually go ahead and pull that in. Let's see, where's the map? Here we go. Oh, goodness. Can I would really like to rotate that. So west farthing, north farthing, east farthing, south farthing. This is where the stone is, effectively the center of the map. There's the river. We've got a blown up perspective there. Hobbiton, West Farthing, Tookland. Okay. Waymeet is here. There's a little bit of, there's a Little Delving. Michael Delving, Little Delving, Waymeet. Overhill down here, Hobbiton. There's all the different locations. So here's the river coming through. That's the water. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add it in. Let's zoom into this really quickly. Let's see if it labels it at all. Excuse me for that. Fortunately, I managed to mute in time. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to create as a location inside of the Shire. The water. Specific read aloud for this location, but we'll add all that in there. So then within that, we're going to have so the water has begun swifter. Perfect in the shallow fort. Very good. So we're going to come back in here. We're going to add the water. Boom. So now in theory, when I come to the water, I see the event there. So it's bidirectional. So I know that those things are connected now. And I have a description of the water now available here. Cool. I'm going to call that good for now. And Waymeet. Perfect. Okay, that's all there. Now, continuing on. Part 2, Mathams of Michael Delving. I have no description, so all right. Copy the, oops, not there. It's too much for the short description. So this is just kind of my way I do this, but I use these quotations as my indicator that this is read aloud text. And so when I save this and I go into view mode, this is what it looks like. It's called out nicely, and it's really easy for me to identify and find the read aloud text in a list of things, right? So let's go and continue with the reload text. And a little bit more text. I know it's super exciting watching me type, but you know what? You get the whole experience here. Live, unfiltered, unedited. This is what it's like to do session planning sometimes. It's not all excitement. There's a lot of tedious work that goes into planning out sessions, but that's fine. Do the work here so that the games themselves run smoothly. So if I didn't, anything that I'm doing here that takes time effectively would be time that I would have to take at the table with the players otherwise. So let's do it. Yeah, fix it in post. You go for it, Tony. Thank you for volunteering. Appreciate it. Fathoms of Michael Delving. Perfect. That one's done. While I'm thinking about it, I just realized that the water maybe forgot to share that. Cool. All right, Matham's Michael Delving. We're gonna burglars. There we go. Any text? Nope, no text. So one of the challenges that I have at the moment, I just now realized that I was doing that. I have been putting all of this text in quotes as well as all of this text in quotes. The problem is that this is actually the read aloud text and these things aren't. These are notes to the GM. So I think that I need to come up with a different solution for that. Got a couple options. I really don't like using headings for that because that's technically a violation of accessibility. I've got two choices. I can either, these notes to the GM, I can do as quotes and I can go and italicize the read aloud. I can italicize these and quote the read aloud text so that it's more what I'm accustomed to. I can bold it. I could format it as code, which is not ideal. Or I could, I could put it into a table or a bulleted list. None of these are awesome options. Let me think about this. Start by cleaning up this because those really weird hard line breaks that are in the PDF that I just copied out of really screw with the evening, Wolf Mom. Well, this is work nonsense for me, so that's all good. I appreciate you being here tonight. Young and enthusiastic hobbit. Boom. I think I want to do my instructions like that. Alternatively, I could do this. Let's try something. Yeah. That's what I was worried about. Interesting choice. I wonder if I can do it. What can I? Nope. That's an option. It's not lovely, but it's in a table. It calls it out. It's a lot more work to do, the formatting, but it looks really cool. I wish tables could be just a little bit simpler in Markdown, but I think I'm going to just stick with the italics for now. I really like the look of that, but that's way easier. Expecting the grounds. Stumbled on us at Origins this past. Sweet. Sweet tea. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy to have you here. Thank you so much. Had a great time at Origins. I hope yours was also fantastic. Here we go. I am in the middle right now of working on getting a One Ring adventure up and running. We're going to be doing a live stream on the 18th, which is cool. Oh, it's your first Origins. Fantastic. Very cool. Man, I hear you about the aisles. The aisles in Gen Con are so close at Origins. Like, you can have people talking to the booths on either side and still get through. It's amazing. I really do. I live in Indy, so I go to Gen Con. I know Gen Con, but I love Origins. It's such a nice con. It's still big without being like oppressively big, and the exhibit hall is so much easier to get around, in my opinion. And yeah, the Gen Con exhibit hall does take a little bit out of you, especially all day. Yeah, yeah, totally. That's absolutely what I love about it. It's a very nice scale. Get to actually play some games. So I actually ran an RPG, Pendragon, while I was there, and it's nice and quiet and easy to do. All right, got this all looking good. Save that. I'm gonna go back and fix these others really quickly. Turn preview off. All right, back to these. I'm gonna go fix my formatting now that I've made a decision. Do these in order. All right, event into the blue. We're gonna double check. Back up to the top. Yeah, that's all good, 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 good. Okay, getting across the water, that is a note to me, not the players. So we're gonna do that. That's a note to me, for example. That's a note to me. Kind of doing this backwards from the way they've done it in the book, but I just find that a little bit easier. Save. Cool. Back in here, well met and Waymeet. Interesting. So this happens when I've screwed up something because of my importing from a PDF. There we go. So italicized. Voiding room queries, blah, blah, blah. If the players, blah, blah, blah. The players. This is also notes to me. Done. Cool. Save that. Now that I fixed that formatting. Yeah, so I'll show off a few things over the next few minutes. Right now, I'm just cleaning up a little bit of formatting. We'll take a second here to give a quick recap of where we're at. Yeah, totally. It's always great to meet other TTRPG people. Adams and Michael Delving. Okay. This is actually text for the players. Perfect. Exactly what I want. There's Michael Delving. This is the one where I had actually fixed it, so we're done there. Now, Math House on the inside and out. Perfect. So we're going to start back up here. Getting the text in. Just fixing these hard line breaks from the PDF really quickly. We're working on some solutions for this, but what is it 20 said earlier? PDFs, gotta love them and hate them. Uh-huh. Yeah, so this is an aside that I need to put in here. I'm going to actually go ahead and do this as a table. Because I want this to be outlined. So we're going to do this. I need to get rid of those hard line breaks again. Okay, I'm going to slip that in right there. And then we'll do these notes. As soon as I get this location done, I'm going to take a quick break for a recap of where we're at and what I'm working on. Firework the dog is not pacified. Sure. All right, cool. So we got this in. Let's go ahead and preview this in view mode. Nice. Let's go ahead and add an need an extra break after the table. All right. It didn't put it in. That's fine. So this is what the table is going to look like. This is just kind of going to be my aside from here. There's a lot of different ways I can do it, but this is how I'm going to put it in here. Just keep it nice and easy. If the dog is asleep, if the dog is awake, blah, blah, blah. Perfect. There's that. There's the Matham House, and I have attached to the Matham House the location, Matham House. Perfect. So, quick recap. We're going to close that because it's done. So, quick recap. Back to the top. We have the campaign. I'm going to switch to view mode while I show this off. Got the details of the campaign for the GM. Actually, let's go ahead and fix the formatting here. Notes to GM are like so. Perfect. Okay. there's the GM information, a little bit of an introduction. The content warning is that we've got topics of theft and burglary. Here's the timeline of the different events we're going to run through over the course of this first part of the adventure. I'm going to be putting players in. Right now I have sessions, but before we do sessions, I have a timeline. So the timeline is how we got that timeline on the campaign. It's just all the things in index order. I am planning the first session, which is a conspiracy most cracked, which is this first section. It has all these different events in it, and then the associated locations, the different places where the things are happening. I can go ahead actually, because I've added a location that wasn't previously in here. I have the water. Is another location that we're going to visit. No game objects currently, and no intervals currently. So there we're at. This is going to be, so this is the session. I can actually add a few more things. This is in planning status right now. I'm going to put the date because we already know that we're going to be running this on July 18th. Start off with the Into the Blue event. Start off with bag end, which is used by a couple different things. Off into the blue, boom. So as you can see, let's go back to the session. This is my starting off point. The thing that I have marked as complete is actually where the players kick off. They're starting here, therefore they're already there. We're going to click through here. We're going to go to bag end. We're going to be able to see any details about bag end as background, and then I'm going to be able to jump into the event. I have all this text that I can read, and this is going to kick off that event. So what I'm doing is I'm getting all these events in for the different parts of the story. Then I'm also going to tie these into the location. So one of the things I'm about to do is, once I have all the events in, I'm going to finish filling out all the details for the different locations of the Shire, so that that's all available. Because what's going to happen when we're actually playing this, I imagine, is people are going to want details about the locations and the places where they are, and I'm going to want to give some of that as description. So I want that available at my fingertips when I'm actually running the game. For now, I have just a couple tags because, as you can see here in the original PDF, I'm just kind of following the outline. So the Conspiracy of the Red Box is the total adventure, but a Conspiracy Most Cracked is part 1. It's the first part of the adventure. Then we have part 1 off into the blue, and then part 2. And so I'm grouping the events and locations in this way to make it super easy to figure out where in the adventure these things are coming up. All right, let's go ahead and finish up what I'm working on right now, which is going through all of the events and making sure that I have the text in. So this is slipping out of town. So come down to slipping out of town and finish moving the text over. Play your heroes. There we go. And finally, nice. North and the West Farthing. Cool. That is the sum total. So what's interesting is this is all just boilerplate text. There's no read aloud text here. So I'm going to have to figure out the next step of planning. I'll probably save this for next week's stream. So next week, I'm going to continue the planning for this actual play session. So my assumption is that next week I'm going to work on kind of fleshing out some of these details, like there's no read aloud text in this. Maybe I want to come up with some so I don't have to come up with it on the fly, for example. So we're going to save this and then come in here at blog, Conspiracy Most Cracked. One of the things that I'm going to do between sessions, just because it's kind of annoying to do on stream, is export images out of the PDF and then import them into Luralink to illustrate the different sections. So, epilogue. Get this text in. I am a lore master in this game. Game master, dungeon master, lore master, whatevs. I heard a new one at Origins last week. Somebody was referring to the game master as the judge, and honestly, I hadn't heard that one before, and I'm not sure what system has popularized judge as the term. Kind of curious. All right, there's the epilogue. Save that. Good deal. So that's all the way through that first adventure. So I'm going to take a moment now to go fill out some of these locations really quickly. So we're going to come into here. Let's look at the map again. So, slow down. This is Bywater we meet. I don't to the White Tower. It doesn't say what road this is. The roads don't have names on this map, so that's fun. All right, the water, the east road. So let's look at it. If Three Farthing Stone is the heart of the Shire, then the east road acts as its feet. Okay. So that's theoretically the stone. Okay. Okay. So Waymeet, Hobbiton. I see. So this is actually turned sideways because this is the West Farthing. Michael Delving. So that is the road. So this is the road they're actually taking. Good to know. The Three Farthing Stone. They're not going to get to the Three Farthing Stone. They're going the opposite direction because they're starting at Hobbiton and going to Waymeet and Michael Delving. So they're going away from the stone. Okay, just double checking. Sorry, my Shire geography is not fantastic apparently. The water, we've got the East Road. So we're going to go ahead and add the East Road as a location since it's in here as a description because they're actually on the East Road the entire time, basically. Yes, 20, I think I know what you saw on TikTok recently, and it was probably my fault, and I'm definitely not repeating it on stream. Wowzers, okay. I put content warnings on all the questionable things I post. All right. Hobbit walks. Oh, interesting. Shire Journey Events table. Ah, see, I'm glad I looked at this. So we're gonna save this. This is the East Road, right? Do I want any? No specific read along here. So I'm gonna save this. We're going to tag some things with the East Road. Let's add things along the road. Include Michael Delving. Include Waymeet. I believe Overhill. Let's just Overhill is not technically on the road per se, but those two are. Technically Hobbiton is as well. Go ahead and add Hobbiton. Oh, that's fun. And we'll add Hobbiton associated with the East Road. And Hobbiton also and Overhill both have the water. Apparently I crashed a PDF by trying to zoom too many times. That's gonna die here in a second. Good times. We'll reopen it. It's fine. Oh, hey, there's just a map of the Shire. That would have been easier to have up earlier. So basically, zooming into this map, because that'll make my life so much easier. Whoa, not what I meant to do. So there's Bywater. So Bywater is right on the road. Hobbiton is not on the road. Hobbiton is right by the water. As is Overhill's not really. Okay. I'll definitely do some stuff with this. Okay, that's fun. There we go. So the East Road is associated with Hobbiton. That's not quite right. That Hobbiton is not actually on the East Road. So we're going to disconnect that. Unlink that. I'm just going to unlink it. There we go. So Hobbiton in the water. We're going to add Bywater. Okay, so Bywater is next to the water. Big shocker. And the East Road. The reason for doing this is once I've got these linked up, it should make it a little bit easier to navigate between related areas. Now, the water. Hobbiton is adjacent to the water. So Hobbiton in here. Cool. Pull up our locations. There we go. Cool. There we go. Let's go to our descriptions now. Heart of smoking, blank smoke rings. Yeah, that can wait till later. Families, I'm not going to bother with that right now. We've got the water, we've got the East Road Inn. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. We've got the West Farthing. Bywater. So let's go ahead and fill out some of these descriptions. Sure, we'll need them later. Okay, so now we've got that description in Bywater. Let's make sure that Bywater is shared. Hobbiton is shared. Very imaginative, yeah. Very imaginative. So imaginative. Okay. Green Dragon and the Ivy Bush. All right. Actually, that's a great point. Let's look at something really quickly. Back up to the top. We're going to skim through here really quickly. Bag End is a location. Fine. Over the river west of Bywater to the village of Waymeet. I'm looking for... Oh, Waymeet Medical Building. Okay, getting across the water. Walking Party Inn. All right. Walking Party Inn. So we're going to add a location at Waymeet. Walking Party Inn. And we're going to make this shared. No, not shared yet. That could be revealed when they're getting there. So coming back to the locations here. There it is. So here's a bit of information about Waymeet. So we're going to add this detail to Waymeet. It turns out there's so much of the information that's relevant to running a rich campaign that's in the Shire information as opposed to in the adventure. So it's really good that we're going through this kind of planning phase, right? That's one of the reasons for it. So, the collection table sits before the doors of the Walking Party Tavern. Open air tap house. So this is going to, we're going to take that and add that to the Walking Party. There we go. There's the Walking Party Inn from Waymeet. All right. These other locations are not particularly relevant to our current discussion. So I'm not going to worry about them, but we have this. A day in Waymeet. A trip to Waymeet is never boring, and if the player heroes opt to spend an afternoon, the lore master can roll a feat die on the table below to determine a random event or assign one themselves. So, taking a peek at the event, Wilmot Waymeet. It's quite active on the evening when the player heroes arrive. The table set outside the Walking Party Inn are still occupied. Lodging is hard. All the beds at the Walking Party Inn are taken. Going to a local farmer. The stables, okay. All So they don't really, they're spending an evening there, not an afternoon. So more than likely this isn't going to come up, but we're going to create this anyway. So I'm going to create this as an event because random encounters are events that can get tied to specific locations. So we're going to call this a day in Waymeet. All right, we're going to do this. And then we're going to pull this table in. So this is lots of fun. We'll walk through how to do some formatting things here really quickly. Ah, we'll just put that there. All right, Waymeet journey table. Feet die, roll, result, description. Okay, perfect. That's a fun one because that's the Gandalf symbol. I don't have an easy way of copying that image. Can I copy the image in? As they pass through, blah, blah, blah. So mistaken identity. So this is, we're gonna break these down. Then I'll work up on the big text. It just takes a minute to do this. It's gonna look really cool when we're done. And it'll all be in one place. Tales from Beyond the Brandywine. Sounds like fun. Then, oh, it's not a D20, it's a D12. Silly me. This is Eye of Sauron. Or we'll just call it the Eye. And I'll try to get the icons loaded and the images up here in a bit. Wrap up all these descriptions. It's easier to go from the back to the front when trying to clean up these new lines sometimes. We meet conversation. And we're almost done building the table. Save it and give it a little preview. Boom, there we go. Waymeet journey table. Chance encounter. I need to follow my own convention here. Save it, view it. Perfect. So this is going to be my journey table for Waymeet, day in Waymeet. This is an event, so we're going to actually attach this to Waymeet. Back to edit, associate, used by, oh, that's right. Waymeet. This is something that will change, but for now I have to add this as a trigger. This is Waymeet, a date. Waymeet is the location. Boom. So when they're in Waymeet, this stuff can happen. And now we've got that table in there, and it's kind of a random encounter table that's associated. So now I want to go to the Waymeet location, right? I'm going to go to view mode. This is what it's going to look like when I'm running it. Come in here, we'll see a day in Waymeet as an event that can happen here. Cool. How many TTRPGs? Yeah, Wolfmom has played a lot of TTRPGs. Rollmaster, yeah, MERP for sure. Every World of Darkness game. I didn't realize you had never played the One Ring. That's cool. So interesting note. Let me see if I can. Give me a second. The Lord of the Ring, the One Ring RPG is also Lord of the Rings role playing. So this is an interesting note if anybody's not aware of it. The One Ring, created by the Free League, and the Lord of the Rings role playing are also by the Free League, are both very similarly themed. To the best of my knowledge, all of the plot and everything is the same. The setting is the same. All that stuff's the same. But the Lord of the Rings role playing is based on the 5th ed D&D rule set. Whereas the One Ring, and I think it's good that they just went ahead and called them different names. I think originally that wasn't the case, but the One Ring has its own system. I strongly prefer the One Ring to Lord of the Rings roleplay, and the reason is that I feel like this system lends itself well to the things that are important about this setting. It handles the differences in timing, right? You have your adventuring and encounter timing, where you're going maybe in rounds and in days, but it also has the concept of the higher level, more abstract adventure timing of overland travel, for example, or of things happening behind the scenes. And it handles that timing stuff very, very well. And I just don't feel the need to have the really gritty, please roll for everything, because I like making this more storytelling focused. And this system does that very well. And so if it's something you're really good at, a lot of times you can just do the thing. You don't have to roll for it. Now, if you're somebody that really, really, really wants to roll dice all the time and you like the super gritty system, then that's fine. But I'm not sure that the 5e system really lends itself to the type of game I want to run in this world, if that makes sense. And obviously, if you're more comfortable running the 5e system because that's just what you know well, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, do what you enjoy. I personally, everything that I've purchased related to this game, which is most of it, despite the fact that I haven't actually gotten the chance to run it yet, is all based on the One Ring. So, and their own system, which I really, really like from what I've played at gaming events. So, just worth noting, these are both kind of the same thing in different settings, so don't be confused by them. All based on the same setting, all written by Francisco. Yeah, if you and your friends are having fun with the campaign, you're doing it right. I would say there's one slight caveat to that, which is if you're being bad people. Anyway, but yes, if you and your friends are having fun with your campaign, it's fine. Absolutely. My preferences aren't going to be your preferences, and part of the secret is to find other people to play with that share your preferences, or just find things that you can all agree on and have a good time. Okay. Checking, quick time check. Oh, I'm basically at time now. So, all right. I'm gonna do a quick skim through here for, that's the south farthing. So I've basically done the west farthing, which is where we're starting. Added bywater. I'm gonna do one other little thing because I think this is really important. To our locations. We're gonna come into locations. We're gonna add to the Shire, back to edit mode. We're gonna add, nope, not that, the west farthing. And we're going to make that part of the Shire. We're going to give it the description. We're going to share it with the players. And then we're going to move things into it. All right, we're going to move Waymeet into the West Farthing. We're going to move Bywater into the West Farthing because this is going to come up later. Move Hobbiton into the West Farthing. The water's at the Shire. The East Road is in the Shire. It's also part of the West Farthing. So we're actually going to connect them, right? So the water is going to be associated with West Farthing. And the West Farthing is going to be associated with the East Road. Perfect. Overhill is in the West Farthing. And Michael Delving is in the West Farthing. So you'll notice that things that are inside of the West Farthing already, I can't, once I'm here, there we go. I can no longer change it. I can change it to whatever, but I can't choose myself. I can't create cycles. So I can't loop back on myself. So now the Shire has the East Road and the water, which are things that span across areas. And then we have the West Farthing. So just for fun, I'm going to really quickly throw in the, I'm not going to be on time, never going to be on time, forget it. I'm going to go over because I want to go over. It's all good. Go to the South Farthing. I'm going to go ahead and grab this flavor text. Save it. Oops. And the South Farthing is shared. And then we're going to go to the North Farthing and add that as well. That way I have a basis for dropping other things in later. I'm going to add this as read aloud text just because I think it's fun. And since I did that, East Farthing. And this. Just trying to flesh out as much of this inside the system as I can in a way that makes sense. Dang it, I forgot that again. I think I shared, nope, I didn't share that one either. So then, I think we're good there. Perfect. I'm going to come back up to the West Farthing. And go ahead and take that because I didn't put that one in. and save it. Cool. All right, so quick recap before we wrap up. Penny farthing, yeah, absolutely. All right, so locations. We have the Shire. Within the Shire, we have the East Road and the Water, which crisscross, and we're going to upload a map later. We have then the East Farthing, South Farthing, North Farthing, and West Farthing. Within the West Farthing are all these different locations which are going to be encountered during this first part of the campaign. We have some places inside of them. We're going to double check all of our locations next time, make sure. I think that these are all the different sub-locations that need to be captured. I'm going to make sure we have all of the locations filled out next time. But quite frankly, I could probably run it based on what we have in here right now with all the events and locations. So we also have all the events. We have the random encounter table for a day in Waymeet. I've tied this all into the timeline. So if I go back to the campaign page, you'll see these are the different events that are going to happen basically in order. I've got them all into my events. I have this all tied into the session. So the session is connected with all the different events and the different locations that we expect to run into. So there's one other location that we haven't added, which I just realized, and that is the inn. Is now there. So this is good enough to run it. Next time I'm going to go through and probably add player characters. Maybe I think I may have a couple NPCs to add. Make sure all the locations are fully, that I've identified all the locations correctly. And then assuming we have more time, which I assume we're going to have a lot more time, we'll go ahead and get started on the second phase of the adventure, which is after the conspiracy most cracked, we go into expert treasure hunters. So we'll start fleshing that out. I don't know during the actual play how far we'll get. We may not get any farther than this, but if I have time to do more planning, I'll do more planning. That's the way it goes. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It's been fantastic having you here. I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit more about the One Ring adventure that we've got coming up. Do please put it on your calendar for July 18th. We're going to be doing that live stream. It's going to be pretty cool. You'll learn a lot more about the One Ring RPG, how it all works, and get to experience this adventure live. So that'll be a lot of fun. Again, thanks to everybody who showed up at Origins. Reminder that LoreLink is now out of early access. It's totally available. So go to lorelink.com. You can sign up now. You can get a free world account, or you can sign up for one of our larger accounts with more advanced features. So do check that out. And again, if you go to lorelink.com and go to our examples page, you'll be able to find information about the One Ring out here, including the original session planning that I'd started earlier in the year. The video for this will be up eventually. So thank you very much. Y'all have a good night. Check us out next week. We're going to keep this going. So take care.